Hey y'all, I am excited to kick off this next episode of Cocktails and Conversations. I am going to be sitting down with some friends and role models, women who have helped shape my life and encouraged me on my grow and glow up process. We're going to talk about all things 30, what we're looking forward to in the future, lessons we've learned in the past, and of course, our favorite cocktail. Enjoy!
I agree. There's, I'm always telling people that, let me rephrase that. One of my favorite scriptures is in Jeremiah, right, Kelsey, 29:11. Mm-hmm. I know the plans that I have for you to succeed and not to fail. Well, I quote that so much, but recently it dawned on me that there's a part of that I was putting all the work on God. Okay, you have plans for me. I'll just wait and let you show me those plans. And I wasn't putting in the work. I was just sitting and waiting for him to drop something miraculous out of the sky. And in the meantime, holding on to my plans. Holding on with the white knuckle gripping to my plans. And like you, Sherry, when you pray your will be done, you just don't really know what that means. And I never thought I'd leave Kansas. Not that Kansas is wonderful, it's just where all my people were. What I learned from you, Sherry, just now is you just got to embrace it. If I don't get out there and say, okay, God, I'm here now, and I'm not going back to Kansas anytime soon, what is it that you brought me here to do, to experience? I recently started back to work after a hiatus, and I'm like, this isn't where I want it to be, Mm-hmm. But it's where I am, and so I have to stop looking towards the future and stop looking in the back and just embrace and accept today, where I am now.
Yep. Well, I tell you, I totally went through that. When my husband told me we were moving to Wichita, I was not happy, to say the least. I mean, I was like, come on, nobody lives in Wichita. Even Dorothy left. Okay? Wichita, out of all the places I've lived, Wichita is one of my favorite because I had to shift my mindset. And I said, okay, you know what? I am going to bloom where God plants me. And I have taken that with every place since then that we've moved. And that's what I did. I got to Wichita and I got to work. I made friends. I did things that people hadn't done before when I did Ladies' Night Out. I loved my church. I mean, I loved it. My kids were thriving. My husband was thriving. So, we were happy. And then when it was time to move from Wichita, I came kicking and screaming and I left kicking and screaming.
Courtney's in the same boat. Where do you live?
So actually, we live in Pine Mountain, Georgia. So we are halfway between Atlanta and Columbus, Georgia. So my job is in Columbus, and my husband's job is in Noonan. So he's closer to Atlanta than I am.
Okay.
But I can't say. So there was at least one point where I did want to move to Atlanta. And that was when I was 21, 22, and I had my internship at the Weather Channel. And I was like, oh, Atlanta is so nice. I was living with these girls who were from different states, and, we were going out and experiencing Atlanta. And then, I graduated, I went up to New York, and then I went to Kansas City. And, I got just a little bit older with actual bills. My mom was paying bills back then for me, but I got my bills and I was like, yeah, Atlanta's not it. So when my husband said, he didn't want to move to Kansas, he claims, he wanted better opportunity in Georgia. I think he was terrified of tornadoes, but I'll leave that alone. But he said, we're moving to Georgia. And I was like, no, we're not. I'm not going to Georgia, and then I was like, it's Atlanta. He was like, but you wanted to go to Atlanta at one point. I was like, no, I don't. I I'm fine in Kansas. Kansas City is fine. So we moved, and it's not where I want to be, but I'm very thankful to be here because, my boss is nice. My coworkers are nice. We have this nice house. Our neighbors are nice. And, it is nice to be able to, even though I'm working, I feel like I'm relaxing in a way. I don't feel super stressed out. So I don't know where we're going to be 5 years from now. And, looking at it, I thought about it today. I was like, I don't know if I'm really concerned, about the future because I'm having so much fun right now.
Right.
And it's kind of scary because I'm one of those people where I think about the future. I'm like, well, I want to do this. So when I was in Kansas City, I was like, well, maybe one day I want to go network or, I want to go home or, my agent had this nice job in DC lined up and, that was all for the future. And here I'm just like, well, at this point, I'm like, I don't really know, I just know that I need to get to work on time and try not to, sweat to death out here. But
I get that.
Yeah.
But it's such a great time because you are of an age where technology assists you. You can stay in contact with faraway family in ways that you never could. I mean, look at us on a Zoom call all over the country. And you're also at a time when Black entrepreneurship is on the rise. So if you have an idea, you can bring that to life, but again, I would just say bloom where God plants you. Choose joy every day. Because you can look at your situation, and you too, Vanessa, and you too, Kelsey, you can look at your situation however you want. Oh my God, I hate it here. Oh my God, I hate my job. Oh my God, I'm 30 and almost 31 and I'm not married. Or you can say, oh my God, I'm in a place where I can, I'm not stressed and I'm happy and, my blood pressure is low and, my business is taken off. So it starts here. It all starts here.
That's a good segue for you, Nessa, because Vanessa owns a consulting firm and is launching, or not even launching, she's launched, but growing her business.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
I want to know about that business.
Well, so I do consulting, and I also moved into the space where a lot of the consulting was necessary to offer, like digital advertising and marketing services. And so moved into that space, and then here about a month ago was really blessed to be able to hire somebody. Just like you said, trying to grow where I'm planted. And it's funny because now I have this whole schedule of things that are coming soon, but one of the things that I had to do was do a video on, well, how did this get started? And I had to think back, and I had to say, well, my first thought was to never enter the workforce. it was never to go and work for somebody. I'm really grateful that I did. A lot of the opportunities that I encountered here in Dallas, moving into Dallas, pushed me to become an entrepreneur. Just seeing really successful teams, small teams, do like tons of work and tons of business and things like that. So, I don't know. I don't know if I really ever pictured like a solid, like what I wanted to do in life. Like I was never that person in college. I remember my advisors being like, well, what do you want to do? And me being like, I don't know, maybe like higher ed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but
I just looked over the computer because my 19-year-old just shot me this look because that's her. She just doesn't know what she wants to do yet. And I hope, she has time, but, I don't.
And I think that's fine. Yeah. Because I started college and I was majoring in entrepreneurship. And I was like, after 3 times taking business calc and I only passed with maybe a C, I was like, forget this. Like, what do I need this for? So I remember I put together this like whole presentation and I wanted to present it to my parents about why I was going to change my major. And I changed my major. The influence was because I was in my apartment and I was in my room because I lived at Traditions Court. And so there were 4 of us in an apartment at OU, and I just decided that like I was watching Making the Band, if anything. Like when Making the Band was on, and there was this lady, and she was coming in, she just had everything coordinated, and I was like, what did she do? And so I started looking it up, and I was like, oh, she's a publicist. Well, why don't I try that? So I put together this presentation and was like, I'm changing my major, and they were like, okay, well, that required me to transfer back to Wichita State, but I was okay with that. Eventually, I ended up liking my experience, like Court did. I went kicking and screaming, but, by the time, I developed friendships, and I, really felt like, especially with the school that I was in, I didn't feel like homework was work. I felt like I really enjoyed it and enjoyed being creative and didn't know what I was going to do. Just go and work for somebody in communications, I guess, And then now it's like, I work in higher ed and do communications and speech writing and all these kinds of things that I never really imagined I would do. And then on top of that, freelancing and growing my own business. So, it kind of comes full circle. And I think for Maddie, girl, you don't have to have it figured out right now.
Vanessa, where did you grow up? You live in Dallas now, but...
So I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, born and raised, went to Wichita State, graduated, kicked and screamed as I moved away to Oklahoma City. I was married for a short time, and so my ex-husband, he got a job at OU. So I was like, I hated that. And then I kicked and screamed my way here to Dallas. So I was very much so not one of those people that I did not want to leave Kansas. Mostly because I grew up with a mother who was, in my college days, she was dying. She passed away when I moved shortly after I moved to Oklahoma City. And so, yeah, that had a lot of impact on me wanting to move. And so that's why I'm very much so about protecting yourself and making space for yourself, because as a young person moving into my 20s and through my 20s, I was taking care of other people. That's my story. I definitely thought I was going to be married and with several children by now, and maybe the 40s, probably the 40s will bring them. I definitely want some children, but in a certain way, I want to have a life partner, somebody that's really truly there for me. I don't want to just be doing things just because of, society and mom wants that, or, family wants that, and like, I got to make sure that I want these things, that I'm comfortable moving forward with these things. And so,
right.
Yeah.
And I think with the way that science and technology are advancing, like, we have the time. I personally, I feel like my niece is my child, and then, I adopt my friend's kid, so, I'll be adopting Brittany's kid. Like, I have a ton of kids of friends with kids, and on top of my sister has a child, and I'm like, I'm good on the babies right now. But if I'm 35, I told my mom 35, maybe I'll think about, depending where I am, maybe I'll think about adoption. Maybe, I don't know. There's time to figure it out, and I think that's the exciting part about it, is because, like, we are finally, well, not finally, but because I don't know that I was actually looking forward to making these kinds of long-term decisions,
but but we are in a place where we have the flexibility to do that, and society has advanced in such a way, still has progress to make, but women have the ability to make these decisions and make them for ourselves, and decide what it is that we want to do.
Even, if you decide down the line, people are going to have opinions, lots of opinions, but yours and God's are the only ones that matter. And mine. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I love that. Even Madison laughed at that.
Okay, so last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is what is your favorite cocktail?
That is a good question. Okay, so lately, and I'm sorry, it is my favorite because you see the glass is empty.
Hey.
Okay, champagne is my favorite, or sparkling wine is my favorite kind of alcoholic beverage. And I like champagne punch. And the punch I make for it is Ocean Spray cran mango juice mixed with Simply Lemonade and Simply Limeade. And it's just, and so it's really kind of like it's more champagne with a splash of that juice, because I'm not about to mess up the champagne with a whole lot of juice. If I want juice, I'm going to drink juice. So that's my favorite. And then, and I'm sorry that my 19-year-old is hearing this, if I need an extra kick, I may float a little bit of vodka on the top just to give it a little extra kick. So that's my favorite. And it's the sugar bomb from all that sugar with the juices. But it is. I don't drink it often, but that's what I like.
Lately, for the last years, I've just really only drank wine, red wine. Mm-hmm. White wine gives me a headache for some reason. It hadn't always, but so.
What's your red wine of choice?
I've always drank Pinot Noir. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's my favorite red.
I like that. Me too.
But I just discovered the Cabernet.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Aldi's had this Aldi's Find where they had the South African wine, and it was a cab, and I bought it. It was really good. I think that would be. So I think I'm on my second act, but if God blessed me with a third act where I could do like any job, anything I absolutely wanted, and money would be no issue, I'd be one of those wine, I can never pronounce it right, sommeliers.
Sommelier, yeah. You need to watch Uncorked on Netflix.
About a month ago. She does good. That. That is such a good movie.
And there's not a lot of black winemakers out there. We visited when we went to Portland.
No, there's some, but not very many.
We visited when we went to Portland. It was Abbey Creek Winery, and that it was really good. I still have my bottle. I haven't opened it yet.
Nice.
That I brought back.
Nice.
I'm waiting for something. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I just don't want to open it because it's a souvenir. But the wine was really, really good, and like the experience of like visiting, it was like a whole vibe, And I love that we incorporate our culture into everything, because it was like hip hop music and wine tasting, and like the owner would go around and socialize with everybody. It was like brunch on a Saturday. It was lit. It was pretty fun.
I love it.
Ooh.
I love wines. I love going to wineries. But I love a good margarita.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but I love going, and I'll be like, do you have margaritas? Even if it's not a Mexican restaurant, can you make margaritas? Mm-hmm. I've nicknamed them margs.
I love it.
I got to get a marg today. It was stressful. Yes. I just, any flavor, but the classic really does it. That
So
the
when
crack-
Salt on the
you
rim.
made them before you were pregnant, did you make them from scratch? Because I have never made a margarita from scratch. I've always had like a margarita mix that I just add tequila to.
So we we did the what is it, Jose Cuervo, and we just did that, and then I think you add tequila to that, but I think they have some that already has it
Yeah.
in there. And then I would do like a splash of like fresh grapefruit juice.
Okay.
I know that's weird, but I started experimenting. And I'd go by the pool and look cute with my homemade margarita. But
Nice.
I've taken a leave of absence, so when I get back,
I will be waiting.
and a trip to the winery. It's due. There's something about going to the winery. They put that free cheese and crackers. Although I don't know, with everything going on, I don't know if they'll do that anymore.
Yeah.
But those were good times.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Vanessa?
My drink is a Moscow Mule.
Ooh.
Oh, I do like those.
I've never had one of those.
Mhm.
You
You said
should.
you have not, Sherry?
I have never had one.
They're really good.
Yeah, it's got vodka, ginger beer, and then I think lime juice, and so it's just a good
And they
straight
come
up
in
drink.
those glasses.
Little
That
Those
brass, copper.
yeah. Those copper cups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
This week's drink is empty. If you haven't been to Jazzy Bees, I encourage you to go. They have amazing food. Oh my God, the barbecue is amazing. But the drink I had came in this jug. It's a blueberry bourbon. It's got blueberry, bacon. Yes, bacon. You can actually take the smokiness. I think that's what gives it that kind of barbecue flavored taste. But it's so good. Blueberries, bacon, tea, and bourbon. It's delicious. If you haven't been, go. And it's a Black business, so support Black businesses. My cup came from Etsy, and I forgot the seller's name, but I will look it up and post it for you so you could buy from her too, because she also is a Black business. And my earrings. Support the Crown Act and end hair discrimination in the workplace and in schools.